So hard.
Yeah, it don't matter, because I was nobody before.
Don't say that.
Oh, come on, Adrian, it's true. I was nobody. That don't matter either, you know? Because I was thinking, it really don't matter if I lose this fight. It really don't matter if this guy opens my head either. Because all I want to do is go the distance. Nobody's ever gone the distance with Creed. And if I can go that distance, you see, and that bell rings and I'm still standing. I'm gonna know for the first time in my life, see, that I weren't just another bum from the neighborhood.
What up, y'all? It's your boy, Mr. Mars Sharp, Short Man Filmworks in the building, and we have another episode of the Everyday Man's film reviews for you guys this evening. All right. Okay, so I know it's been a while. It's been a while since I made my last video, and y'all know I was talking about the Rocky franchise. It's been a while. I think it's been almost I think it's been almost close to 2 months since I posted my video about Rocky 3. But holiday times was coming in. We had Thanksgiving come in. We had Christmas come in. And we had the New Year come in. So I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I hope y'all had a great Christmas. I hope y'all got the gifts that y'all wanted. I hope y'all gave the gifts to the people that y'all love and gave plentiful as well as y'all received. And Happy New Year, man. It's a new year. It's 2024. So we're going to keep on going. We're going to keep on moving. We're going to keep on doing some new things as we keep on continuing to go through this stuff. You know, y'all can see I got me some new backgrounds. I'm actually fixing up my room. I'm fixing up, well, my room, my little office, but I'm fixing up my little apartment and getting things together the way I want to get them together. So adding some stuff to the walls, kind of give it a little flair so, you know, my walls don't be too plain. But I wanted to do this to this room anyway, so we going on and get that done, all right? All right, so getting to the film review tonight. So as I said before, as y'all been riding with me, I've been doing the Rocky franchise, and I started out with Rocky 4, then I did Rocky 5, and then I did Rocky 2, Rocky 3, and now I'm down to the first Rocky. And I know some of y'all, if y'all just tuning in and y'all just, for those of y'all who just happen to, you know, stumble onto this channel, or those of y'all who've been riding me for a while, y'all know the order I'm going in. But for the newbies, for the people that just coming along now, I started doing this Rocky franchise in the order that I seen them in. You know, so I started with Rocky 4. That was the first Rocky movie that I was introduced to. Then I seen Rocky 5, seen Rocky 2, and then Rocky 3. Even though Rocky 3 I've seen but didn't really have too many memories about it when I was younger. So I really gravitated toward it as I got older. And then I came in contact with the first Rocky, you know, so that's the order that I seen these Rocky movies in. And going back to watching the first original Rocky, I seen a lot of gems in that movie that I didn't see in the beginning in my beginning years of watching this movie, because honestly this wasn't one of my favorite Rocky movies, even though it's the first one, and everybody tends to say, hey, this is where it started. You know, a lot of people say the first one of any movie, a lot of people say the first one is always the best one because it's rugged, it's raw, it's the truth. You know, it's what's been put out. It's everything is always included. Oh, everything is always put into the first movie because they give it their all. And me personally, man, it really wasn't my favorite Rocky movie, man. And even though I watched it again, and I took away a little bit more from it this time, it's still not one of my favorite Rocky movies, man. My favorite, I don't even know which one is my favorite one of all time, but this is my least favorite Rocky movie. You know what I mean? And as I went back and watched it, I think what really makes this not my favorite Rocky movie is the pacing of the movie. It's a slow movie. Rocky is a slow burn. You know, you don't really get into the meat and bones of the movie until until he actually starts to fight Apollo Creed. You know what I mean? And then I think for me, I was so used to the other Rocky movies, being introduced to the other ones, and they had quicker pacing. The pacing of the movies was a lot quicker. And in this one, it's a slow, calm pace. And I understand it's a slow, calm pace because we're getting to know Rocky. We're getting to know who he is as a person, as an individual. We're getting to know the man and what the story is about. So I get it. I get the pacing of the movie. But as I said, in watching it this time around, I took in a little bit more from this movie than I did, when I was, a couple years ago. When I ain't gonna say a couple years ago, but when I was younger, when I first started watching the movie. Because when I first started watching the movie, I'm like, I don't understand, what was the big deal about it? Everybody made this big deal about, oh, you got to see Rocky, you got to Rocky, you got to see it. It's one of the best movies, one of the best movies that Stallone has ever did, that he's written and been a part of. So I never really caught what was the pull. I never really got the gist of what the pull of the movie was. But now that I watched it again, now I got to understand, and I'm saying, okay, now I can understand why so many people gravitated toward this movie, okay? And I gravitated to it now because by me being older, me living some life, I can understand what was going on with Rocky. You know what I mean? And for those of us who've seen the movie, and I'm not going to give a plot line because I'm going to pretty much sum it up, but those of us who've seen this movie know that Rocky is an underdog. It's a story about this man, and it's a story about this man who really he's kind of just drifting. He doesn't really know what he's doing. He doesn't know what he doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know where he's going. He doesn't really have no set plan. And all everybody pretty much knows him around the neighborhood is he's a bum from the neighborhood. He's just kind of this guy who just wakes up and spends his day roaming the neighborhood. He's a muscle man for the local loan shark. He's a muscle man for him. That's pretty much his job. He takes on these little, oh man, what is it? I want to say, is he more like he's a grunge fighter? He's not a professional, but he's kind of like he's in the underranks. I want to say the minor leagues, but he's in the low tier of fighters. You know what I mean? So he's just drifting. He's drifting. He doesn't really have no purpose. Doesn't really have no goals, and he's just roaming. I don't want to say he's roaming for no reason, but he's here. And he's just doing what he knows what to do best. And that's pretty much, hang out in the neighborhood, he's trying to be the best version of himself that he can. And we really don't really get a chance to see that, but we see a little piece of it. We see a little piece of it, and you see that he wants more. He just don't know how to go about doing it. You know what I mean? So I think there's a lot of us out here who can understand that. And I think that's another reason why people gravitated toward the story, because it is such a story of an underdog, of you don't know exactly what you want to do, but you know there's something else. And I get that sense, and I got that sense with Rocky in this film, where he didn't know what else was out there for him, but he knew there was something. He just didn't know what it was. You know what I mean? And at the time of the movie, we get dropped into this movie. We get dropped into this time of his life where it's just about to start picking up, where he's just about to start finding out exactly what it is that, he needs to do. He's about to find out his purpose, which, he's a fighter. He happens to get that, he gets that chance and that opportunity when Apollo Creed offers him a fight, and it's kind of like, it's one of them things where it's like, you don't know the kind of hand that life is going to deal you. Here he is, he's this club fighter in the beginning, and now I think probably in a matter of a couple months, he's being challenged by the heavyweight champion of the world. And it just so happened that Apollo wasn't even set to fight him. He was set to fight somebody else, and that fight fell through. So Apollo Creed was like, hey, listen, we need to find something to keep the crowd going. We got to give the crowd, get the crowd their money's worth and give them a show. And when he finds Rocky Balboa, just by the name of him being the Italian Stallion, it sparks an interest in him. You know what I mean? So you got to think, without that opportunity, would Rocky still be that same dude? That was roaming around the streets. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it kind of asks the question of, if you're doing what you're doing in your life, and when an opportunity comes about, because we never know when we're gonna get these kind of opportunities where it can take us to a different level. You never know. So it kind of poses the question of, if the opportunity comes, will you be ready for it? Will you be ready for these opportunities when they come? Are you prepping yourself? Are you preparing yourself? And in some ways, Rocky was kind of preparing himself, because he was at Mickey's gym, and I think he said he was at Mickey's gym for like 6 years, and he was training in the gym, but he really didn't give it his all. So he kind of was prepping himself, but he really wasn't prepping himself for the opportunity. You know what I mean? I think Rocky had a little bit more fire in what he wanted to do when he first started going to the gym, but he see that Mickey really wasn't paying him any attention. And he goes through that at a part in the movie where his locker is giving up because he's not really showing up. He's not showing up. He's not doing what he's supposed to do. Mickey gives up his locker, and he gets to one part where him and Mickey going back, they kind of have a little exchange where they go back and forth. And he asks Mickey, why you always riding my ass? Pretty much, why you always riding me? And Mickey tells him, you got so much potential and you just wasted it. Plain and simply put, Mickey can see what he got going on, but Rocky can't see it. Or can Rocky see it and he's just giving up? You know what I mean? So it's one of those questions that kind of, it's kind of one of those questions that's in the movie. Like, hey, did he have this potential to be what he wanted to be when he first started at Mickey's gym? And then he kind of just slacked off and just say, hey, listen, I might not even ever get the opportunity to do what it is that I want to do. And then he slacks off and he just kind of just does what he does. You know what I mean? So in him training at the gym, yeah, he's prepping for the opportunity, but then when the opportunity actually comes, he's like, okay, do I have it to go the distance? Do I have it to go the distance? And he says it to Adrian in one scene in the movie right before the fight. He says, I'm afraid, I don't know if I want to do this now, and it doesn't even matter that I can win. I just want to be able to go the distance. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like he sees what's in front of him, but he kind of doesn't want to take that plunge. He doesn't want to take that leap. He doesn't want to take that leap of faith to say, hey, can I really do this? Can I really pull this off? I got this big opportunity, a hell of an opportunity to do what it is that I've always wanted to do. And now that I'm here, can I really, really, really pull it off the way I imagined it maybe so many years ago? Can I pull it off the way I imagined it? Or, can I just, can I stay in a distance? Like he said, I just want to be able to go the distance. Doesn't matter if I win. Doesn't matter if I lose. I just want to be standing at the end of the fight. You know what I mean? And the underdog story. I'm saying it now, and as I'm talking about it, I'm really starting to understand it now. The underdog story is what pull people in. As I'm talking about it, I'm realizing that now, that you see so many different trials and trials that this man is going through internally. I can't even say it's more externally. It's more internally, because he's dealing with so many different things. Being lost. Being kind of just being this lost child in the world and just drifting. Without no direction, without no guidance. You know what I mean? And people around him can see it. Mickey can see it in him. You know what I mean? And obviously, I don't want to say obviously, but I think Apollo saw something about it where it was like, okay, just the name alone, Rocky Balboa, the Italian Stallion, just the name alone made it stand out, So I think that speaks to a lot of us. I think it speaks to a lot of us as human beings when we get to that. We all get to that particular point. You know, I think we all have been there before where we get to a particular point where we think we have everything figured out, or we had a certain vision of what we thought our life was going to be like when we was 19, 20, 21, 22 years old. And in the young years when, you know, when you got so much vigor in you, you got so much life in you, and you got so many different things that you want to do. And then you start living a little bit. And as you start living a little bit, life has a way of knocking of knocking the wind out of you to make you say, maybe this ain't gonna be exactly what I thought it was gonna be. You know what I'm saying? So we all have been there where, okay, we thought one thing, we get the wind knocked out of us, and sometimes we get the wind knocked out of us, and sometimes we feel like we can't go on. Or we get to a certain place, just like Rocky. We get to a point where we just drifting. We just living each day and just going on, just going with the flow, just going with the motions, just living the same routine we've been living for so many different years, you know. But we all know that there's something inside of us that's bubbling, it's burning up. We know it's something else, you know. And I feel like with Rocky, that's how he felt. You know, he just didn't know how exactly how to get it done, you know. But he knew it was in there. You know, he knew it was in there. So I think, you know, a lot of us can relate to that. I think that's why this movie gravitates toward a lot of men, because I think as a man, we've all been there. If we haven't been there yet, then you're gonna get there. You know what I'm saying? You know, at this age of 43, I've been there myself. You know, I've been there a couple times where in my younger years, I knew what I wanted to do, kind of had it figured out, so to say. At least at that time, I thought I had it figured out. And then I live a little bit, get a little bit of life in me. Situations change, things go differently. And then you're like, oh, okay, well, that wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. And then you shift and you got to change. And then you shift and you change. And just when you think you got it figured out again, next thing you know, life throws you another curveball. It throws you another curveball, and you're like, okay, now I got to move and I got to adjust and I got to flip around. I got to do things differently. I got to do things differently. And then you might change again for the third time. And then this time around, you know, life kind of knocks the wind out of you, because now you're going through it again. And just when you come up with a game plan and you think you got it figured out, here come life punching you in the gut again. And now you're like, is this supposed to be like this? You know, and then you ask yourself the questions, is it supposed to be like this? And then now you kind of get to that point where, shit, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know what do I need to do. You know, I thought I had it figured out 2, 3, 4 times. And then when I thought I had it figured out, now it's something different. And now that there's something different, now I gotta shift and do something else. You know, so I think as men, we've been there before, you know, but we all know that there's something else. We all know there's something else, you know. And just like the underdog, some of us have been counted out of things. Some of us have been places where people thought we couldn't do certain things, or people thought we wasn't gonna accomplish what we accomplished, but that gave us that push to keep on going. You know what I mean? Rocky was like that. You know, he was in the bar talking to the bartender, and I can't remember exactly what he said, but he was saying that about fighting Apollo Creed. And he said, I can't remember the quote, but he says something as if to say, you know, oh God, I can't remember what it was, but pretty much in a nutshell, the bartender was kind of slamming Apollo Creed, and Rocky still had kind of like this upbeat, positive attitude, whereas the bartender didn't have it. You know, so you see little small inklings of the light still going on inside of Rocky's soul, inside of his soul, inside of his spirit. You know what I mean? So it's there, but he just, you know, the light went dim. You know, it wasn't as bright as it was when it first started. And like I said, man, there's a lot of us that have been there, where the light has been so bright, and then life just keeps kicking us in the face, and it kicks us in the face so many times where that light just gets a little bit dimmer, and gets a little bit more dimmer, and gets a little bit more dimmer. It doesn't necessarily quite go out. Well, when some people it does go out, which is unfortunate, but for some of us it gets a little bit dim. It goes out, it gets a little bit dim, but we still know there's still something there, because that light is still there. You know, we still know that there's something. That light is still there, you know. So yeah, man, we've been there before. I've been there before, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other dudes who have been there before. You know, and not just dudes, just, you know, women. I think we've all been there, you know, because that's the funny thing, that's called life. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. That's why I'm kind of like, I didn't want to give a whole summary of the film. I just kind of wanted to just talk about some of the basic ideas of what of the film. At least that's what I took. At least that's what I took away from it. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Shout out to Sylvester Stallone, man. Shout out to Sylvester Stallone for writing this film. You know what I mean? And what's funny is there's a documentary on Netflix that's based on Sylvester Stallone, based on his life, and he's talking about the reasons that he wrote this film. The reason that he wrote this film, that, you know, he knew Hollywood wasn't going to cast him because he had a certain look, and his look wasn't Hollywood. You know what I mean? And he wrote this screenplay, and he stuck to his guns, man. He stuck to his guns and said, "Hey, listen, if you're gonna take this screenplay, you got to take me. I want to play the starring role." You know, and they tried to sell it to him for certain amounts of money without him being attached to it, and he held on and he stuck to his guns, man. And I don't think nobody else could have played Rocky like Sylvester Stallone, you know, because he's seen himself doing that role. He's seen himself playing that role. So nobody else couldn't have captured the essence of Rocky. And I think too, what was going on with Sylvester Stallone at the time, he was able to put a lot of his personal into that character, you know. So shouts out to Sylvester Stallone. As I said in a couple of them Rocky videos, you know, Sylvester Stallone's pen is something serious, man. You know, and if you watch the documentary, you'll see that how much writing he did and how he kept honing those skills and writing those screenplays and just writing and just honing it in and just bringing it in and just keep working on it consistently and constantly, to where, you know, he created a beautiful gem out of a story and a franchise at that. You know what I mean? Not only he had that franchise, but he also had the Rambo franchise going on, kind of almost going on at the same time that he had the Rocky franchise going on. So that was that's a lovely thing, man. That's a beautiful thing, man. So shout out to Sylvester Stallone. We get an introduction of all the characters. You know, we meet Adrian for the first time, and we see how much of an introvert she is. But you understand why she is the way she is, because she has Paulie, and Paulie is kind of like holding her back. You know, he's holding her back from living, and she actually has a spaz out moment where she tells him, "Hey, listen, you know, I can't live my life because I'm so busy. I'm so busy taking care of you, and so busy worrying about you, that I can't live the life that I want to live." You know what I mean? And he's busy calling her a loser, but at the same time, it's like, dude, you calling this woman a loser, and she's taking care of you. You know what I mean? And Paulie is kind of like almost, he's a bum too. You know, he's a bum too, but he's not on the level of Rocky. He's just kind of at that point where he's just like, listen, this is my life. This is what I do. He's kind of just, he's that light that just died out, you know? He's that light that died out. And I don't know if people will notice this, but there's a scene in there where Paulie is talking to Adrian, and there's a picture of him on the nightstand table. He looks like he's in uniform. He looks like he's in a uniform, like maybe he was in the military. Something was going on with him at the time when he's in that picture. And you see this picture, and it kind of reminds me and say, hey, maybe this was at that time where that light was shining bright, but you don't know what happened to Paulie. And that light was shining bright, and next thing you know, that light just went out, died out. You know what I mean? So he became, I guess you can kind of say he became what Rocky is almost on his way to. You know, whereas Rocky is kind of like, okay, he's got them bummy qualities, and Paulie is just, you know, at this particular time, he's just a straight up bum. He has those same qualities, but there's still a little bit of light left in Rocky. There's still some light left in him. Whereas in Paulie, that shit is just gone. That shit is just, it's dead. It's gone. It's died. It don't died out. and you can see it in the way he's you can see it in the way he's portrayed. You know, Burt Young did an excellent job, and I like Paulie as he goes along in the other movies, because to me he kind of becomes the comic relief, but he's kind of like he's that staple in the story. You know, you have him, you have Adrian, and you have Paulie. So it's kind of like you have this triangle between these three, and you can't have one without the other. You know, you can't have Rocky without Paulie, and Paulie without Adrian, and Adrian without Rocky. So they all go hand in hand. You know what I mean? So it works out, man. It works out. It works out very well. And we meet Apollo Creed. So, and as I said in my I want to say I said it in Rocky 2, or was it Rocky 4? I think I said it in Rocky 2 that Carl Weathers played Apollo Creed to the T, man. Excellent portrayal of this boxer who wanted to give an underdog a shot. He kind of didn't want to do it at first because he was fighting somebody else, but he didn't have no choice. So he was like, okay, well, I still got to put this fight on, so I need to find somebody to fill the slot, you know. And in Creed's mind, he's like, listen, you know, this is gonna be easy peasy fight. You know, I'm gonna get in. As he said, I'm gonna get in there, drop him in 3, and you know, he's gone. He's out of the way. Little did he know that Rocky was gonna show his ass in this fight. You know what I mean? And he didn't think Rocky was gonna go the distance. And when he went the distance, it was like, oh wow. You know what I mean? It's another scene in the movie where he actually knocks Rocky out. He knocks Rocky out. Mickey tells him to stay down, but Rocky, with that heart, he tells him he gets up. And as he gets up, Apollo looks at him. He already got his hands raised, and Apollo looks at him like, yo, this guy just won't stop. And Rocky's telling him, yo, come on, let's go. I ain't done yet, you know. So I feel like Carl Weathers did a awesome job. And as of course, as the movies go along, we see the character development. We see we get into a more deeper dive into who they are as people, and they go into their friend. They go, you know, him and Rocky develop their friendship, you know. So it's, you know, this is the beginning of it all. It's the beginning of it all, and we see how everything starts to develop, which is a marvelous and beautiful thing, you know. So otherwise than that, man, that's it, man. You got four main characters. You have Rocky, you have Adrian, you have Paulie, and you have Apollo Creed. You know, you have the Lone Shark. I don't remember I didn't go say I don't remember. I didn't even look up the actor's name who played the Lone Shark. But he's got some play in the film. But you know, his play in the film is to show you where Rocky is, to show you where his life is, to show you what's going on with Rocky at the particular time at the start of the movie. You know, so you have his character. But other than that, man, you pretty much have these central 4 characters. But oh God, I'm saying central 4 characters. I forget about Mickey, man. You got Mickey as well, and we see who Mickey is in this in this film. Old dude, you know, he's you know, old dude, but he's kind of like that old school trainer for Rocky. Why is these lights keep flickering? I hope this electric. I hope this ain't gonna have no problem with this electric tonight. Y'all excuse the lights because they keep on flickering. But you have Mickey, played by Burgess, man. And I ain't named none of the actors, man. I'm a little sleepy, so that's it. Y'all gotta mind me, I'm a little sleepy, so I'm doing this video on fumes because I need to go to bed. But I wanted to get this done because I've been holding out for so long to get it done, so I'm getting it done. But Rocky, played by Sylvester Stallone, Adrian by Talia Shire, Burt Young plays Paulie. I say Carl Weathers with Apollo Creed, and Burgess Meredith, who plays Mickey. And Mickey sees the potential in Rocky, and then when the opportunity does come, he jumps on it. You know what I mean? I kind of want to say, I want to say it's kind of foul, but then again, it's not, because he saw the potential in Rocky, but Rocky didn't want it. So you really can't help nobody when they don't want to help themselves. So it's kind of, and it goes back to him, to Rocky asked him, yo, why you always ride me? Because he's like, yo, you got all this potential and you just wasting it. So I guess Mickey's like, well, why try to help him if he don't want to be helped? If he can't help himself, ain't much I could be able to do for him. You know what I mean? Ain't gonna be much I could do for him. So, but when he does come aboard, when Mickey does comes aboard, he trains him, gets him right, gets him ready for the fight. You know what I mean? So, so yeah, man. So anyway, let's get to the scale because I'm getting sleepy and I'm starting to repeat the same stuff over and over again because I'm sleepy. All right, so getting to the scale. It's still not my favorite Rocky movie. I'll say that. The first Rocky is still not my favorite Rocky movie, but on a scale, I'm gonna separate my feelings from it and talk about it in just an overall great film. I give Rocky 5 thumbs up because it is a great film. A whole lot of underlying messages inside of the film. If you pay attention to what you're watching, then you'll say, okay, I can understand. You know what I mean? Will a younger audience get it? And I think that's why I didn't really gravitate toward it because of what was going on in the story. And I hadn't lived enough life yet to understand what Rocky was going through in this film. You know what I mean? So after living some life and kind of going through some of the same situation, now I understand the film and where it was going. But as I said, it's not one of my favorite Rocky movies. And it's basically not one of my favorite Rocky movies because of the pacing. Because it's a slow burn. Rocky is a slow burn, man. You got to be in it. You got to be invested in it. It's a slow burn. It's a slow burn. And if you're not investing in it and really getting into it, you're probably going to turn it off. You're probably going to turn it off because I forgot how slow this movie was when I was watching. I'm like, damn. This is a slow ass movie, you know what I mean? But as Rocky starts to train and really starts to get into what he's about to do, it picks up the pace some, not a lot. I say it's in first gear. I say the movie's in first gear for maybe the first hour, and then we shift into second gear, going from 1 hour to the hour and a half mark. And then we get into the boxing match between him and Creed, and we kind of shift into third and maybe get into fourth. I don't think we ever get into fifth or ever get into sixth gear with this film, because it's a slow paced movie, you know what I mean? But it makes sense because the slow pacing leads to the second film, which I talked about in my Rocky 2 review. So not one of my favorite Rocky movies, but I do give it 5 thumbs up. I give it 5 thumbs up by direction by John Alverson, by the writing by Sylvester Stallone, and what else can I say about this film, man? What else can I say about the film? Great film, but like I said, not one of my favorites. Not one of my favorite Rocky movies at all. You know what I mean? But it's still a great film. Still a great film, all right? So, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how y'all feel about Rocky. Let me know what kind of nostalgia you have with this film. How does it pertain to your life? How did you relate to it? Leave some comments down below and let me know what's going on. How you feel about the film. Like the video, man. Like the video. Go back to some of my videos. Like them. Help your boy out. Give me some likes. Give me some love. It would be thoroughly appreciated. And subscribe to the channel. I got some more stuff coming. If y'all been checking out my channel so far, I thank you. I appreciate y'all. Stick with your boy, rock with your boy, and I appreciate all the love and all the support that y'all been giving me. Okay, and I can truly say I am done with my review of the Rocky franchise. I wanted to do Rocky Balboa, but I think I'm going to just leave that one alone. I might come back to it maybe sometime later, but as of right now, I'm Rockied out. I can't do no more Rocky movies. I need to take a break for a little bit and review some other stuff, you know what I mean? So I'm probably going to go back through a list and see what other movies I want to review. I'm probably dig through my 80s dig through my 80s movies, because there's not a lot of movies in theaters right now that I'm feeling. But I tell you one thing, Netflix got a lot of streaming stuff coming out. They got a lot of stuff coming out that's streaming, and a lot of movies that I'll probably be talking about there, because there's nothing in the movie theater that's exciting me. It really isn't. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna pause on my Rocky franchise. I'm gonna leave it right here. I'm gonna leave it right here, and then I might come back to Rocky Balboa. And if I do, it's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a while before I come back to Rocky Balboa. Like before I come back to Rocky Balboa, and leave it alone for a little bit. All right. So, yeah. Thanks for, like I said, thanks for riding with your boy. I appreciate you guys for riding with me. All right. This is Short Man Filmworks. These are the Everyday Man's Film Reviews, and I'm your boy, Mr. Mars Sharp. And I think I got all of that twisted because it's been so long since I did one of these things. But y'all know what I'm getting at. Y'all know what this is. Y'all know where y'all come to watch this stuff, all right? And I appreciate y'all. As I said again, I appreciate y'all. All right. So, y'all have a good night. Y'all take care. And I will see y'all on the next run.